Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, I want to talk about an article from Reuters that has to do with Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary, who wants to organize a referendum regarding some LGBTQ plus 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 minus and so on issues. Um, I will read you the title of the uh, article, and then I'm going to discuss it a little bit and see how things go. So it's from Reuters by Christina Fenio and Christina Thun from March 28, 2022. And this is its title. Hungary rights groups urge invalid votes to defeat Orban's LGBTQ referendum. So in democracy, there's two kind of democracies with, direct democracy and representative democracy. Direct democracy is a referendum where you go and vote for an issue direct. The issue is put on a ballot and you say yes, no, blah, 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 without intermediaries. That is, with representatives that you vote for, and they will vote for the issue. And you don't know how they will vote. Let's say you vote for your representative for a certain idea, and then when he gets over there to Washington, he votes the opposite way with what you would have liked him or her to vote for. So that's representative democracy. You have a guy who's going to, um, you know, uh, censor, if you want to say that way, your direct idea. He's going to vote however he wants. Well, I don't like that. But the argument that these guys are presenting is, well, otherwise you would, that's what you're going to do every day, all day, just vote, 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 vote. Well, that's an extreme argument. We can go to the other one and say, no, that's not true. You vote only one time a year and you have 10 or 20, at the most 10 issues. And the most important issues that you should vote are, for instance, immigration, legal and illegal immigration. You would vote, for instance, for campaign donations for the politicians. You would vote for taxes. You would vote for critical race theory being taught in school or not. Your children being propagandized in school to participate in gay parades or have workshops for transgenders in school and have certain kind. You can do this all the way. I know these things could happen in the local area, and you can have this kind of referendum, but this is the direct vote. I'm for that. Otherwise, you're going to have those weasels who are going to be influenced or could be possibly influenced by bribery, influences, scare tactics, and so on. So, or maybe they just vote the way they like it, and that doesn't coincide with your vision of life. So, what's going on here with this guy? So, the rights groups don't like to be democratic now. He will try to invalid votes to defeat the referendum. That means it's bypassed. They don't want to say, you know what? I want it. What do you say? I don't want it. Okay, I respect your vote. You respect mine. No, I want somehow to screw up the whole system so it doesn't work. Is that democracy? Why do they do that? They do that because they know that the population would not vote for their little, uh, whatever you want to call that. So I'm going to end. Hungary got in trouble with the European Union because the European Union want to impose on this country their values, and they don't care about what the Hungarians, for instance, how they want their society to be ran. European Union tells them how they should run and what values they should have, because somehow the Hungarians are what cave men and cave women. Basically, this is what it is here. And it's still here that this Budapest Hungarian human rights groups. These are not human rights groups anymore. If you these are political terrorist groups who would do such a thing. I mean, that's not within the system. That's a whatever. So they are urging voters to spoil their ballots to defeat a government referendum on LGBTQ issues taking place alongside a national election on Sunday, saying its approval would strengthen prejudice against the LGBTQ community. Maybe some people have a different value that you have. And then they try to do the thing here with, it says Prime Minister Viktor Orban, and it says a nationalist. Why do you think they say that? Because this is meant for their groups to read, not for others. I might agree with him. Yeah, a nationalist. Great. No. This is supposed to be here as like give a bad connotation, but doesn't matter. Facing a tough battle to be re-elected for a fourth consecutive term, has proposed a referendum on ruling party legislation that limits schools' teaching about homosexuality and transgender issues. Okay. All right. Well, let's have a vote on that. Let's do that. The referendum is seen as a report to the European Commission, which launched legal action against Budapest over the law passed last year that bans the use of materials seen as promoting homosexuality and gender change at school, ostensibly as a measure to prevent child abuse. Maybe some parents don't want their children to see this kind of materials. Maybe the parents are in charge of their children and not the government and the school. So why would you try to impose that? Just let them be. That's not educational anymore. That's a value probably that I don't have, or someone else doesn't have, or a parent. So let the person vote. Referendum, direct democracy. All right, now Brussels says it was discriminatory and contravened European values of tolerance and individual freedom. So it was discriminatory. Well, when I disagree with something that I don't like, yes, I discriminate against that. And the same thing you do. If I don't like color green, I discriminate against color green. And if you like color green, you don't discriminate, but you discriminate against color black that I like. So, and then tolerance. Tolerance does not mean that we should accept anything. It doesn't mean that. And besides, tolerance goes both ways. So you call me for not tolerating your values, and I can call you intolerant in the same way because you don't tolerate my values. So then we have two opposite values. Now, if you say, well, you don't accept my values, you are intolerant. Well, if you don't accept my values, you're intolerant. Now, these ones obviously think that their values are the good values and your values are the bad values. So it's a moral judgment based on preference, not on a universal truth. Because if we go by universal truth, we know exactly how it is. In order to have children, procreate, you have to have two different kinds of organisms, not the same one. And don't give me one example that you will find in nature. Look at the overwhelming majority. So by the universal rule, I am right and you are wrong. But I don't even go into that one now. See what's going on with these guys. It says here that what actually this guy does, what they try to do, what Orban tries to do, is allow the children, allow the parents to decide what the children see in the school. So it's in the referendum, Hungarians will be asked whether they support the holding of homosexual orientation workshops in schools without parents' consent, and whether they believe gender reassignment procedures should be promoted among children. Well, I want to be asked that as a parent. Even if I'm for it, I think other parents should be asked that. I teach my child the values, not the government. I'm in charge of my child, not the government. If I want to tell my child that heterosexuality is bad, that's my child, that's my life, that's my value. And vice versa. If I want to teach my child that homosexuality is wrong, that's my prerogative, that's my right, individual right, correct? But here they say, well, how about we just do this to your child when you don't know it and you have nothing to say about it? We're going to impose some values on your child that you might be against. So let's say you have a group that wants to promote Nazi ideology, And they don't ask you if you would agree to have your child be taught Nazi and propagandized Nazi ideology, because the children are not able to discern at their age the reality, and they have the authority figure, which is the teacher. So they will just suck that in. So I think I should be asked if the schools are going to teach my child that, let's say, Nazi ideology is fantastic. I think I should be asked the same. I should be asked if the school would like to ask my children, I don't know, teach my children about transgenderism as a positive thing, not neutral. I don't want them to get involved in my child's head, because if they do, I should have the right to take my child from that school and take it to a school that I think doesn't teach those values of yours. Okay, so then these guys that pretend to be human rights, the rights groups are not. I mean, the rights when they're right, and then it's there's not rights when they're wrong. So these guys are like all of us. We all have a more or less dose of tyranny inside our human nature. That's what it is. We have it. It's just that we have to keep it down if we want to cooperate and live in a society, let's say a democratic society with democratic and rules and with rights, individual rights and the liberties. Otherwise, everyone is going to impose on everybody. And then you have your rights and your children. The children are not your government. Are yours. It doesn't mean you can abuse them or something like that, but there are some certain values, some like a life, a worldview. Anyway, I thought it was important. And by the way, remember, this guy, Orban, was voted four times democratically in Hungary. The system worked. Now, I know people try to say he's a Putin lover or whatever he is. Well, they can say that, whatever. Why? Because he doesn't want to get involved in Ukraine. He says, that's not my business. Why? Because he made a good deal with Russia with oil and gas for I don't know how many years for his country at a very low price. Is that why? Because it's independent. They don't follow the Brussels orders. Is that why it is? Because they don't want to be like those guys imposing on their children and their nation's values that are not compatible with their the Hungarian people's values. Hungarians are Catholic. Why do you ask them to accept something that they don't want to accept? The same with immigration. Remember, they built that fence on the south. Oh my God, that was the end of it. Why? That's my border. What do you want? Oh no, Brussels, open borders. To whom? So anyway, thank you for being with me today again. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just. See you in a minute. Ciao.